Hello students. In our previous video we have studied about electromagnetic waves a lot, and we come to know that electromagnetic wave is a big family of all the known radiations, and it consists of a large number of wavelength. So the orderly distribution of the electromagnetic waves means if we distribute these radiations as per their wavelength in an order, that orderly distribution as per their wavelength or frequency into separate groups such that the properties of each group are similar, means we are going to divide them into separate groups depending on their properties and according to their wavelength or frequency. Then that distribution is known as electromagnetic spectrum. So electromagnetic spectrum is the ordered distribution of electromagnetic waves. We can write electromagnetic spectrum as ordered distribution of these electromagnetic waves, and it is done in accordance with their wavelength or frequency into separate groups having waves with same kind of properties in same group. So we have to put waves with same kind of properties in one group. This is how we distribute electromagnetic spectrum into different groups, and this whole division is called electromagnetic spectrum. Roughly, actually this distribution is a rough distribution. There is no sharply defined boundaries because the regions of this electromagnetic spectrum overlap with each other. So this we have to remember, that this electromagnetic spectrum has regions with no sharp boundary. डिस्टिंक्ट वेवलेंथ या डिस्टिंक्ट फ्रीक्वेंसी नहीं होता हमारे पास जिस पर्टिकुलर पॉइंट से ग्रुप चेंज होता है. देर आर नो शार्प बाउंड्रीज फॉर दैट. एक्चुअली these groups overlap. Okay, so they overlap. This we have to note. There is no sharp division of boundaries of the groups in electromagnetic spectrum. And the main parts, if we talk about the main parts of this division, then there are 7 parts or the 7 groups that we made in electromagnetic spectrum. These groups are radio waves, microwaves, infrared, visible light, ultraviolet, X-rays, and the last one is gamma rays. So there are subdivisions also possible for these sections, but we majorly talk about these 7 sections that we mainly divide electromagnetic spectrum into. Okay, so we divide electromagnetic spectrum into these main sections, in these main parts, depending upon their frequency and wavelength range. Order of the frequency and wavelength is used to divide the whole spectrum into these following 7 sections. So we are going to study about these sections majorly. So to explain electromagnetic spectrum in an effective way, I am going to use this tabular format for that. Now, इस tabular format में we can easily see one in a time, that what is the name, wavelength range, frequency, how the wave produced, how it is detected, and what are its main properties and applications. So it will be easier for us to understand that which is the region in which that particular wave exists and what are its properties and how it is produced. So we will start with the first wave, that is radio wave. And these radio waves has wavelength range that is greater than 0.1 meter. Okay, so wavelength more than 0.1 meter, and its frequency varies from 10 to the power 4 to 10 to the power 8 hertz, and this wave is produced by rapid acceleration or deceleration of electrons. Okay, so the reason for the production of radio wave is rapid acceleration or deceleration of electrons in aerials. Aerials means the antennas. Actually, radio waves are generally used in communication, and they are produced by some antennas and received are on receivers. The wave is transmitted, transmitter aerials, and from where it is detected. Similarly, at the place of detection, there are receivers aerials which detect these radio waves. So these radio waves are produced by rapid acceleration or deceleration of electrons in aerials and get received by the aerials also. So they are detected by aerials, and their properties and use is that because of its different wavelength, they are used in radio communication. So the main use for this is radio communication. This is the first wave or the first group of wave that we have in electromagnetic spectrum. Now after radio wave, the next is microwave. Microwaves has wavelength vary from 0.1 meter to 1 millimeter. Okay, so from this level, now the wavelength will be decreasing and frequency will be increasing. So wavelength का order decrease होगा और frequency का order increase होगा. For microwave, wavelength varies from 0.1 meter to 1 millimeter, and frequency will vary from 10 to the power 9 to 10 to the power 12 hertz. This is the range of frequency for microwave, and these microwaves are produced by some kind of accelerators. We call them klystrons or magnetrons. These are the equipments which are used to produce microwaves. So klystron valve or sometimes magnetron valve are used to produce microwaves, and these are detected by point contact diodes. These are detected by point contact diodes. So where we want to detect microwave, we use these point contact diodes. And microwaves are also used in communication, but the type of communication in which these are used are radar communication, next thing, these are also used for studying the fine details of molecular and atomic structure because of their wavelength. Since their wavelength is compatible to the atomic size, so these are used in studying fine details of molecular and atomic structures of particles. So these are the main two use of microwaves. Next wave that come after microwave is infrared, and its wavelength range is from 1 millimeter to 700 nanometer. So now from millimeter we are moving to nanometer, and its frequency varies from 10 to the power 11 to 5 into 10 to the power 14. Now you can see there is no sharp boundary. This is an overlapping of the two regions. It varies from 9 to 12 and it starts from 11. So there is an overlapping between microwave and infrared section. So frequency of infrared is from 10 to the power 11 to 5 into 10 to the power 14 hertz. After that, the production of this infrared wave takes place by the vibration of atoms and molecules. So the main reason for the production of this infrared wave is vibration of atoms and molecules, and these are detected by thermopile's bolometer and infrared photographic film. So these are the detection methods. These can be detected by using thermopiles, bolometer, infrared photographic film. These are the methods to detect an infrared wave, and these are used again for studying molecular structure, and since these are less scattered by the visible light, so these are also used for haze photography. Sometimes these are also used for haze photography. So the applications and properties are: first, these are used in studying molecular structure, and for in case of infrared, since these are less scattered than visible light, reason is because these are less scattered than visible light, so used for haze photography, right? So this is the infrared wave. After infrared, the next section that we get is visible light, and that's the very common one that we can see. All Vibgyor comes under this category. So this is the visible light, which comes under the electromagnetic spectrum. Its wavelength vary from 4000 angstrom to 7000 angstrom, or we are mentioning here in nanometer, so it varies from 700 nanometer to 400 nanometer. This is the wavelength range, and for frequency it starts from 4 into 10 to the power 14 hertz to 7 into 10 to the power 14 hertz. This is the value for frequency for visible light, and these can be produced by motion of electrons when they move from one energy level to another. Basically, when they move from one energy level to a lower energy level, they emit radiations which are visible. So the production of visible light takes place due to the electrons in an atom when they move to lower energy level, and these are detected simply by human eye. Human eye can detect visible light, photocells can detect, photographic films can detect. So detection can be done by human eye, photocells, and photographic films. And the use, if we talk about the use, so first of all, it helps us to see objects, right? This is the main use of visible light. Next use is that it can cause chemical reaction. These are also responsible for causing some chemical reaction. This can also be the use of visible light. After visible light, the next part of the spectrum is ultraviolet rays, or we call them as UV rays. Their wavelength range is from 400 nanometer to 1 nanometer. So the wavelength range for ultraviolet radiations is 400 nanometer to 1 nanometer, and their frequency range is from 10 to the power 16 to 10 to the power 17 hertz. Frequency of ultraviolet rays varies from 10 to the power 16 to 10 to the power 17 hertz. These can be produced by it can be produced by electrons in an atom when they move from upper level to lower energy level, but the difference is for ultraviolet rays, the electrons that we are considering, that should be inner shell electrons. So the process is same, but the electrons that we are choosing should be inner shell electrons. If the electron is an inner shell electron and it is moving from one energy level to more lower energy level, means an energy level which has even more less energy, then it produce ultraviolet rays. So process is same of production in case of visible and ultraviolet. The only difference is for ultraviolet radiation, the electron that we are considering should be of inner shell. Similarly, the detection is also same, means these cannot be detected by human eye. Ultraviolet rays cannot be detected by human eye, but these can be detected by photocells and photographic films. Right, and if we talk about their properties and uses, so they also cause chemical reactions. Chemical reactions can be caused by using ultraviolet radiations. One more property is there, that these are absorbed by glass. Glass can absorb ultraviolet radiations. And the next thing, the property and application that we can use for ultraviolet rays, from ultraviolet rays, is these are helpful in ionize atoms in atmosphere. These are helpful in ionizing the atoms in atmosphere, and because of this process only there is a layer of ionosphere in the atmosphere, in Earth's atmosphere. That is the reason for the ionosphere existence, because of the presence of ultraviolet radiations. After UV rays, the next ray is X-ray. Again, X-rays wavelength vary from 1 nanometer to 10 to the power minus 3 nanometer. 1 nanometer to 10 to the power minus 3 nanometer, and its frequency varies from 10 to the power 16 to 10 to the power 19. So here we can also see the overlapping between the section of ultraviolet ray and X-rays. Now these can be produced again by inner shell electron. These can also be produced by inner shell electron, or sometimes we can also produce X-rays in X-ray tube. These tubes are specifically made to produce X-rays. So these are also produced in X-ray tubes. These can be detected by using photographic film or some ionization chamber. Photographic film can be used to detect X-rays. Also some ionization can be used for that, ionization chamber. So that is a method of detection. And again, if we talk about their applications, so these are powerful rays. They can penetrate matter. That's why they are used in radiography. The reason of them using in radiography is that because they can penetrate matter. Next, since they are powerful, they can also ionize gas present in a certain region. Also, they can cause fluorescence. Fluorescence can be caused by them. They can also cause photoelectric emission from metals. Photoelectric emission. So these are all the phenomena in which X-ray is helpful. X-rays are used in all these applications. Next thing is, the next हमारा last section है, that is of gamma rays. The wavelength of gamma rays is less than 10 to the power minus 3 nanometer. Okay, now we are working with decreasing order of wavelength. Wavelength is less than 10 to the power minus 3 nanometer, and its frequency is 10 to the power 18 to 10 to the power 22 hertz. frequency is 10 to the power 18 to 10 to the power 22 hertz. Gamma rays are produced by radioactive decay. These are produced by radioactive decay of any nucleus, and these can be detected by photographic film and ionization chamber. So this is same, these can be detected by photographic film or ionization chamber, or X-rays and gamma rays are also detected by using Geiger tubes. This is also common in both. Geiger tubes are also used for the detection of both X-rays and gamma rays. So their detection technology is same. And if we talk about their application, so application of X-rays and gamma rays are also same. These are similar to X-rays. All these process can be done by gamma rays also. So we can write it here, same as X-rays, right? This is also same as X-rays. For gamma rays, the detection process and the properties and uses are almost similar to X-rays. So these are the 7 sections of electromagnetic spectrum that we have to cover, that we have to study majorly. There are their subsection also. For example, if we talk about visible light, then in visible light there are sections for violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red, for whole Vibgyor. So there are sections depending on the frequency and wavelength, but majorly we can divide electromagnetic spectrum into following 7 sections, and these we have to study. So that's all for the video. This is whole about the electromagnetic spectrum. For further videos, stay tuned. For further videos, stay tuned and keep studying. Thank you.